How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. We are looking over a video by Brandon McMillan. It was suggested that somebody asked me what I thought of him, and I don't think I've ever seen him before, so I picked out a couple of his videos, and we'll be going over them. This one is called Using Lemons to Deter a Dog. I don't agree with using, lemons to deter a dog from either jumping or whatnot, or as a way to correct a dog. So I just thought that would be interesting. So we'll see what I think of him by the end of this. I'm probably not going to like it from the first couple of seconds I've seen. So anyway, either way, using all footage here under Fair Use Act for education, criticism, giving my personal point of view as a trainer, as an owner, as someone who's had experience with, training dogs, professionally and in an educated stance. I don't know if he's educated or not. I have no idea what his background is. But he's going to be working with this little lab here. And by all means, if you want to follow him, then you're, obviously more than welcome to. You don't need my consent. You don't need to care about what I say. I will never tell you not to follow him. If you want to follow him, support him, by all means, go ahead and do that. And if you happen to like what I have to say, then you can support me as well. So if you're ready for that, then let's get started.
The heel command right now, he could potentially pull somebody down.
And with two young girls in the Sternal household,
okay, so he's saying
a proper heel is
vital. So he's saying if this dog doesn't learn heel, then he could pull someone can get hurt, blah, blah, blah. These trainers who only ever teach heel, it's just over-controlling. It's overused in my opinion. Dogs can learn. I like how he's on a nice martingale, though. But dogs can learn to walk on a loose leash and not have to heel constantly. I mean, my Shiba is proof of that. He used to pull really hard too, but using pressure and release and teaching him to be really soft, and by pressure and release, I mean, if I were working with this puppy right now, I would have him on a harness, or if I am teaching him in just this collar, then I would, move a little bit more this way and apply just enough pressure to get this dog to kind of trip over himself and move in this way, one step, and then I can loosen that pressure again. I mean, I show a demonstration of how I teach this on my channel. I'll leave the link in the description below. Kiko Pup also has a wonderful tutorial of how she teaches it, and I'll leave that link in the description as well. So if you want to go follow her, by all means, I highly suggest her. But anyway, so I don't think that your dog needs to know heel in order to not be a danger of pulling anybody else down. I think that's just over-controlling. Let the dog sniff. I'm okay wherever the dog is, on whatever length of leash, as long as you're not pulling me. So I'm fine with them being on a loose leash.
One of the biggest mistakes I can make with Sawyer is accepting the challenge of the tug-of-war with my arms. So how do I do this? I do it with my hips. I start walking him on the leash, okay, and I put the leash on my hip. Yep. I quickly
Okay, so I don't know how long he's been working with this dog. This dog is starting to show some stress signs, like long lips, ears are back. He looks like he's panting because he's either hot or he's been doing this a while. I don't like quick movements with dogs. I don't like, he's turning around. He's basically popping the dog without popping with his wrist. The dog is just going to run into the end of the leash. As a matter of fact, this is how I would teach heel.
Between two fingers here. I keep my hand.
My Shiba is in my house, low distractions, no leash, no collar, no e-collar, no nothing. I have a treat between my hands, and I'm going to start walking forward.
As a visual for him. So if I have my treat here, I take one step, he follows. I mark and reward. Sorry, my phone was going off.
Oh, I'm sorry, I tricked him.
Yeah, I take another step.
But he still gets his
phone was going off there.
This whole time he's staying there. He can move away. He doesn't have to.
Another step, he follows. Mark, reward. Now, I'm not saying any verbals here just yet because I want to get the behavior down pat. So again.
And then in the same session, I even fade away from the treat.
Reward, then you can increase the number of steps that you do. Then you fade away from the treat by having your empty hand. And you take one step,
a visual
and then
signal.
Mark and reward, and you work your way up multiple steps. Mark and reward.
So that was a bit late for the mark, but he could still be rewarded for staying there. He won't necessarily think that the healing was what he was getting rewarded for. So that was slow. I'm talking to the camera, but still, this is how I'm working with him.
I want to fade away from even the hand signal. So you can take one step, mark and reward that. And during this time, I don't ever teach.
I really didn't teach my Shiba heel. I didn't work with him with heel hardly ever. Especially not, at the time this video is being made, I think he was 10 or 11.
Him the verbal yet. You can, at any point, if you wish, I just really want to have that behavior down.
So I turn, I give him time to think.
Good boy.
He wasn't, he was paying attention to whatever else. That's okay. I just tapped the side of my pants, get his attention. I'm not about this, like, extreme pay attention to me at all times. And this guy's starting with a puppy. And he's working with a puppy. And they're outside, and I don't know if it's his training place. It looks like he's got this little obstacle course set up. He's working with a puppy. And the dog is already looking stressed compared to Adonis.
Say the word heel.
Oh, and then he pops a couple of times. Wow, let's go back and look at that.
Put the leash on my hip.
Heel.
I quickly
Drags him around, and then pop
heel.
twice to get him back. He doesn't tell you that he's popping the dog backwards twice to stop him.
Have it in between like this, whatever you want. The hand is just a visual. And his goal can be to touch the hand, just follow it as a visual. Good boy. He doesn't have to touch it. He can. He's licking it. Whatever you want. It doesn't really matter.
So here he is distracted. I don't bump him up. He can take his time. Even if he gets ahead of me, I don't care. I would just put my hand back in position.
He's not going ahead of me. He's not lagging behind. We'll go up one more time, and then I'll show you what an inside turn would look like, where you're turning into the dog.
So I actually have changed the way I would teach an inside turn. I would just pivot on my own feet and then have him go back around again.
Turning into him, a lot of times personally, if I want them to...
That way it's less confusing and he doesn't have to go all around in a circle. I could just move the leash around me. But none of this bumping, none of this popping.
I just move them back behind me. So
he's choosing to stay here. I don't care if he stays here. Again, I would just call him back.
Turn to face him. I kind of turn into him. I can turn this way, and he just kind of circles back.
So see, it's a little more confusing for him than if I just circled around, and then if he were on leash, I could just move his leash around me. Well, let's see how he does
my body. Now I'm pulling him with my hips. I'm not pulling with my arms.
Good.
No, but you still popped in there that you're not going to tell anybody about. It's not the end of the world, like he's not on a prong collar, but still, it's the sake of teaching this dog to ignore light pressure. He's not telling people that he stops the dog by popping backwards.
Turn my body. Now I'm pulling him with my hips.
So he's just continuously, like, luring him with his hand here, causing the dog to get in front, confusing the dog because he doesn't know how to use, anything other than popping and whatnot.
I'm not pulling with my arms.
This is bribery, and then we cut over here, and he stops the dog pop, and then he has to drag the dog forward, and he's going to pop the dog to stop. So he's just dragging the dog around. He doesn't even know how to use food.
Like a war game.
Drag.
As I do this, he turns
drag.
His body
pop.
And walks with
pop.
Me.
Heel.
Drag.
Good.
Drag. Pop. Good. Pop. Jesus, dude. Again.
Boy. I go back and face. So he wanted to go on the left side because he's used to going to the right around me. So if I were to say side,
I'm not saying I'm better than him. You have to follow me. I'm not saying that I'm the right answer. I'm simply showing you that you don't even need to use anything on your dog to get the same results. If you know how to use the method, what is his excuse? He's got a show going on. I'm just some weirdo on YouTube.
He's used to doing that, and then we walk on the left.
So I'm showing that I used to call him to my side, and he can go around.
Using this wall and teaching you firsthand with him being on the right.
So see, he's kind of ahead of me. He was like, what do you want?
Good.
And I didn't expect that. I mean, I looked out by him doing that. He doesn't know what heel means in every situation. And I don't say it until I get the behavior. So you didn't hear me saying heel when I was just walking in front of him. If I start with a dog, I don't just say that. I'm not having to pop him and jerk him and stop him and drag him. He's going.
So that was an example of using a verbal cue. I don't use this with him a lot, like really ever. Really, it's just the behavior.
So I moved my body. I didn't have to pop him or tug him. I let him decide. He comes around. See, I mean, anybody can do this, just like anybody can do this.
The secret is turning abruptly.
No, the secret is popping, and you're not telling people what you're doing, and you're bribing the dog because you don't actually give him any reward. You use the food to lure him and say, oh, come walk this way, but you don't actually give him any of it.
You know when I'm going to turn.
I saw that foot there. I don't know if that was just him moving or if he kind of like tapped the dog on the butt.
Keeping his mind guessing. He's always wondering when I'm going to turn next.
No, he's not. He's following the food. You're bribing him without even actually rewarding him. This guy is so capable of doing this without even touching the dog. But it's easier to just correct and all this other nonsense.
Fun.
He's not impressive.
Everything's fine. All the way, come.
With his
I was in the house working on the computer, and I decided to let Sawyer have a little free time in the house with me. This seemed like a good idea until I turned
So we
around.
set up the cue. We set up this scenario where we put something in the trash because we have a camera person nearby, teaching the dog to practice this behavior so you can correct them using a lemon. Wow.
And saw him on the floor with a banana.
So you're putting this dog at risk by practicing this behavior again because he has a camera person watching. Who knows how many takes it took, but he's teaching the dog, putting the dog at risk of swallowing this banana peel and choking.
On his mouth.
So he can...
Hey, come here, give me that.
Come here, give me that. You know, acting all fun and acting all, you know, silly. Like, I don't believe that. That's just a crock. This is just a crock of baloney. He's just putting on a show. I don't believe any of that. Based on how he shows how he teaches heel, this is all just a facade.
Although this time it was a banana peel.
Again, back to the banana peel that he's chewing on. You know, teaching him to
And
go
it
in the
can really do no
trash.
harm. Next time, it could be something much worse. Well, when life gives you lemons, teach your dog to stay out of the trash can.
No, that was your... Jesus, no. Dude. When you have a dog and an open trash can with food in it, and the dog is in your space and you're working, maybe just pick up the trash can if you can't completely watch the dog. You don't need to go leaving lemons in there just to teach the dog to stay out of the trash can. It just teaches them to stay out of this trash can. Or when you're around. If you can't watch them, then put them in a safe area with toys and appropriate things for them to keep them busy.
I take a lemon and I cut it into wedges. Now I have the secret weapon that's going
No, you're just an
to
idiot.
bring him over to the object.
Okay, so now he's setting the dog up for failure. Once again, we got whale eyes. I'm assuming this dog is in for a board and train. Okay.
Show him what he did wrong.
No, show him what he did wrong. Although you're the human who set this visual up a number of times so you can correct the dog for the sake of your show. When the dog didn't do anything wrong. You as the human did everything wrong. You left this dog behind your back with an open trash can they could get into, with food in it that they could get into, and now, for the sake of repeating it over and over for the shot with your camera person, you really reinforce that. So now the dog is going to go chew on a lemon. Is it the end of the world? No, but it doesn't matter. The whole. I mean, people could probably put hot chili peppers in here, in place of lemon. I know, I've heard of people doing that. Oh, the dog stole my sandwich. The next time I put a really hot pepper in there when he went to go get the sandwich and he learned. No, he didn't. You don't need to. It's not the dog's fault. It's the stupid human's fault because he set this dog up for failure in the first place by not watching the dog and leaving items around that the dog could get into. The dog is just being a dog. It was a human fault.
I show him the banana peel and I show him the trash can. He actually goes for the banana peel.
Yeah, no, duh, because you've reinforced him so many times for this shot.
And now I can correct
no,
him.
dude, no! Good lord, dude. Should only be given to dogs in small doses to avoid sickness. So he's actually giving you bad advice, but saying, because it could cause sickness if you don't do it in small doses. But yet he's just going to give this advice out there and leave it to the people to only, to control themselves. That is just stupid and dangerous. And the fact that the dog will not associate going in the trash can by itself. It will only associate it with you. It will become fearful of hands going around its mouth. Good job giving this dog a pill in the future. Or God forbid, getting something out of their mouth. Or doing dental work. Or just checking on them. God,
which is actually a better way to train. That's a no.
A better way to train. A better way to train. Then what? Smacking them on the head with a rolled up newspaper? Kicking them in the side? Shocking them? You set this up, dummy! The dog does not associate any of this with the trash can. It's only when you're around. When you're not around to threaten him, he will go back in the trash can. Good lord, I thought he was just going to put, cover the banana peel in lemon lemon juice, which might probably have proven better to teach the dog, oh, when he goes in there on his own, it's a nasty taste, I don't want to go in the trash can again. But no, he topped that. Good grief.
Where humans actually crave the taste of lemons, dogs basically despise it. Just like the old saying goes. So that is
avoidance behavior. Not a single actual treat given. This guy is just a moron. So, that's my opinion on him. Okay, so we're just going to go over this one for a couple of seconds because I already saw it and I'm just like appalled. I mean, this guy is just such a dummy. This guy is not good at training. I mean, he has 827,000 subscribers on here. He has a show, I'm sure, on Nat Geo or wherever else, Animal Planet, whatever. Good for him.
This is how we train. It's very simple.
So he's teaching a dog to get off the couch.
Tell him off and give slight pressure on the leash. Just the same amount of pressure.
So he is avoiding eye contact as if a way to not associate the dog with this pressure with being scared. Whale eyes, the dog is fighting the pressure. This is not the time when I want to teach a dog pressure and release. I want them to already know it, in a gentle way. I'm not just going to keep up the pressure because this is how you teach a dog to fight pressure and release. If you want your dog to get off the couch, you can easily point to the ground, toss a treat, they go get it. Or point to the ground, as soon as they get down, give them a reward. There's so many other ways you can do it other than this.
If you're walking him off.
I wouldn't say the cue there. The dog is terrified.
He's a stubborn one.
The fact that he says he's a stubborn one shows how stupid he is and how uneducated he is and how he blames the dog, even though he's the dummy who's forcing the dog, teaching the dog to fight pressure, to not trust him. He's going to match the pressure. So the reason the dog comes is because of the liver trait in between his fingers. The dog does not come because of the pressure alone. The dog comes for the food.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Good boy. Off.
And you don't keep repeating the cue, dummy. You already ruined it by teaching the dog fighting pressure means off. So that was that on that. I think he's just a dummy. I don't think he's a very good trainer at all. I think he's just, a liar with the way he's teaching. I think he's a manipulator the way he's teaching and telling you it's this, it's because of this, when really it's not. It's because of another reason, because of force or because of whatever. He's not a positive reinforcement trainer by any means. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on him. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and got something from it. Be sure to give your little critters some kind of lovin'. Say howdy do for me. And until next time, stay positive.